Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
We're actually, that's kind of our specialty is to have technical
To have
you could call the podcast, the Biofriendly Podcast, parentheses, technical difficulties with Noel and
Technical
Jacob.
difficulties, the podcast
yes.
with Noel and Jacob.
Oh my gosh. Look at this ragtag team. We're like the Bad News Bears of podcasts. Okay. Well,
We should really rebrand those poor bears. We should start calling them the Good News
the
Bears.
Good News Bears.
They're not great at baseball.
No.
But they really are good at telling you when things are nice. And
That's
things
true.
Are, things
The
are
Good
happening
News
well.
Bears.
Yeah.
That's actually a really funny name of a softball team.
The Good News
We're the
Bears.
Good News Bears.
We're the Good News Bears.
We're not great at baseball, but we've got a good attitude
We
about
have
it.
a great attitude. We'll give you other good news.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, we're going to be like, hey,
Joe just won a trophy for debating.
Yeah, it's great.
Isn't that great?
You guys in the outfield are doing fantastic.
Hey, I used to play outfield.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but you
should-
were never on the Bad News Bears. I guarantee.
No,
you had
it's more the
some
Good News
skills.
Bears. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Elise was a great, for those of you who don't know, a great softball player. I actually went to college to play softball. Elise was so good.
Yeah.
So Elise would strike us out softball. We could stand up there thinking we're all baseball fancy, and she would still strike us out. And she was an outfielder.
A 7-year-old could
And
strike
she
me
was
out.
an outfielder.
An outfielder striking you, throwing the ball.
A little child could strike me out. I am terrible at baseball
Yeah?
and all sports in general.
Okay.
This is
so it's not
how-
saying much that Elise could strike. Well,
No,
Elise
no.
could strike out a good baseball
She
player.
could just strike out a good baseball player. But for me, like if we ever talk to anybody and they're athletic and they're good at sports, they could dominate over me, and it's not saying anything.
Okay.
There's no compliment to that.
Okay,
But
you are tremendously good at sequence.
I am
card
very
game.
good at sequence, the card game. I'm
So,
great. And so is your wife,
that's
and we're
something to
one
be-
heck of a team. Thanks, Talia.
Elise, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. We play against that for somehow for some reason Jacob and Talia have this like
We're telekinetic.
mind meld
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
in this game, this dumb game. I call it dumb because I lose.
But you did win the last time.
They let me win for my birthday, which is nice.
That's not fair.
But they play this game sequence where you gotta just run cards in a row.
Yep.
And they're so good. They're so good at it. I don't know how or why they're so good. They once beat me and Jacob's wife Jamie like 13 times in a row.
Wow.
Yeah. It was.
It's a very fun game, sequence, by
embarrassing.
the way.
I've never heard of
It's
it.
very cool. It's like a board game, but with cards. So you have like a deck of cards, and then you play these pieces when you have certain cards come up, and they have to go like in a sequence of 5 in a row, and you can go diagonal, sideways, whatever. Anyway.
Kind of like
it's-
Connect Four.
Yeah, it's like grown-up
Okay.
Connect Four. But
Except with cards.
with cards.
On a board.
Yeah, and it sounds so simple, but I think that's why it's so fun. Like
Right.
it kind of gets intense.
It's very challenging.
Yeah, very challenging
Yeah.
game.
No, I like Speed. That's my card game.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever played Speed before. Is that the one where you
Yeah,
throw
when
the
you're-
card down really super fast?
But there's a
Yeah.
but like you have to. Isn't everybody trying to do their own solitaires? Like, is that right? Like, you
It's
you
like-
have to solitaire on everyone else's solitaire decks all around the place, or have I got the
Well,
wrong
it's
game?
like there's 2 little decks,
Okay.
and you have 2 on the side that aren't flipped over just in case like each player gets stuck.
Yeah.
And you have your own little set of cards.
Okay.
Wow.
And so you can only have 5 cards in your hand at a time. So
Okay.
the 2 cards in the middle. At the beginning, each player flips over 1 card,
Yeah.
and then you start going from there. You
On those
start-
2 decks,
Yeah,
and then you
so
go
it's
up or
just
down,
like
right?
up or down.
I've seen it played. I've never
Yeah,
played it.
It's so fun.
It's intense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because then you get all mad. I think if you've played that before, then you get when someone else puts it down before you, you're like, and then that starts them on a run, and you're like, I can't get that. And you get, that's fun. That's a good
It's
game.
very challenging.
I
That's
love
my
it.
card game.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you do play a card game or a board game or something like that, you forget almost every time how fun it is.
Yeah, you
It's
do.
something that isn't part of the normal culture, but when you do it, it's like, wow, we should do this way more often
Right.
because it's really, really fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, game night with your kids, parents.
Yeah.
Do it. I mean, you think, oh, this is going to be boring. They don't. Man,
Yeah.
you do it, and your kid's like, this was awesome. This was
Yeah.
great times.
Yeah, and there's great new games out there that the kids like. Like there was this, we got one called Babies versus Bears, and then we got one called Exploding Kittens, and then and then we have this fun game called Dude. And dude, yeah, and it's so simple. You pull out a card, and dude,
does it star Jeff Bridges?
It has a picture of a guy on the cover that looks just like Jeff Bridges.
Okay.
But all it is the way dude is written, like lowercase or cursive or big bold letters. You say the word how you think it's being written out, and you say it a certain way.
Idea.
And then if somebody across from you says it the same way, then you guys might have a match. And if you have a match, then you get a point. But if you don't, so you're like, dude. It's pretty fun.
That's a fun idea.
It's very simple.
There's some
very
clever game makers out there.
There are.
Make them really good ideas.
We should do a we did a podcast on toys, but and we could probably do something on games one of these days. I don't know. Environmental games.
We can do anything.
We can do anything.
We can do anything, Jacob.
But we did.
Put our minds to it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on YouTube Live. We tried Clubhouse at Noel's request for like 5 weeks, and then we're like,
I love the case that we made for it last week, and we were like, we're never giving up. Well, this week we gave up.
We gave up literally a week.
But you had good reason. The problem is, it's not that it's not a great app, and not that we maybe won't revisit it, but at its stage now, it's so exclusive.
Yeah.
It's not something you can open up unless you're a member.
Right.
So it's like there were people that we'd broadcast, they missed it because they weren't on the app or they just weren't on at that moment. They had no idea. So it's a very specific, targeted, like, I'm going to sit down at 7 p.m. tonight and listen to a class about something, you know?
Right. Yeah. And we just, frankly, we can't now add another app that we have to promote on everything else.
Right.
And also, just so that you all know, we be putting quite a bit of energy into creating new content over the coming year for YouTube.
Yeah.
New shows, new stuff, and also promoting that and getting more people to it. So we figured if we're doing that, we should pop this on YouTube Live.
Yeah.
That way, people who find it can learn about the podcast, and people who are already following us can now realize, hey, we're on YouTube Live. So instead of watching the show on YouTube later, you can actually see it as we're recording it, which means that you get it unedited without all of our mistakes. Whenever Noel says,
wait, I include all the mistakes on our.
I know, well, that's true.
Except for the.
But I get bleeped probably once every couple shows.
Yeah,
at least, right? Because I say something dumb or illegal or something.
Illegal.
Something that children don't want to hear.
It's mostly illegal.
It's mostly I say something very illegal. Cocaine.
Oh, great! I have to bleep that.
Did it again.
No, we're trying this out. We're going to do the YouTube Live, and this might be a good, easy thing, and this will help, get people to come on board.
Exactly. And then if you want to, chime in on YouTube Live, then go ahead and drop something in the comments. We have Elise monitoring, and then she can let us know if there's something worth talking about.
Yeah.
And so next week, we'll try to remember to join the Painless Green. We always post live when we are going live. It'll be roughly Tuesdays or Wednesday mornings, pretty much, if you're being ready for it. That's usually when we record.
Yeah.
We'll probably get more regular with it as we go here because we have this crazy schedule for our marketing and stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, we're going full throttle. And it's taking up a lot more time, so we're going to have to be like, this is the only time we do the podcast, so it'll be pretty consistent.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Should we talk about green things now?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, well,
are you ready, Elise, to talk about green stuff?
I like the green wall behind you.
Oh,
thank you.
We appreciate that. We love this green wall.
Yeah, we actually chose this color and this sign. When we moved into the place, we thought we need to have an accent wall because most of this is kind of a boring white.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it was pretty
It's like
bland.
the Swiss mocha. Where do they call that color? I don't know
Really?
why.
You would call this Swiss mocha?
That's what they call it.
Really?
Yes, which is weird because
that looks
mocha
like
has chocolate in it.
white.
So mocha should look like, because it's chocolate, mocha should look like
brown.
more beige, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Since it's green, you should make a green screen.
We did. We did.
Make it look like a window.
Yes,
We
so
did.
last 2 Christmases ago, our friend Sean Coney, he totally did that, and we posted those on the thing. But he put Christmas Vacation behind us. He put a bunch of Christmas stuff for the holidays,
Right.
and then we had him come on the show the year later
Christmas,
to talk about Christmas movies.
Yeah.
And now that's kind of a tradition where Sean messes with us on
Christmas.
holidays.
But you can, the cool thing is we did offer up to anybody. We said at any point in time, you can take a screen grab or record our show and green screen whatever you want behind us.
That stands. Go to YouTube.
It's open. It's public
You
domain.
steal that video. Jacob just made the Biofriendly podcast public domain.
Yeah, man. If we're going to get into the Smithsonian, you got to just get it out there, right?
Yeah.
I'm probably fine with that.
We'll
It could be
do.
a meme.
Huh?
It could be a meme later.
Yeah.
You
Oh
never
man,
know.
I would love to be memed. Well, I say that now, but a lot of those people who get memed, that follows them around the rest of their life, and they're like, I don't want it to happen.
I don't think that our
we're
board,
memeable.
our board or our see. This is the silly thing about what we do here, right? Is we do it like for fun, like the way we're used to doing it, with good cops and
Being
everything
silly.
else. Except that we are being paid by a company,
right?
And that company has stockholders and board members, and they probably would be very mad at us if we said that this show was public domain.
It's not really. That was a joke. That was Jacob's sense of humor.
That was not real.
That wasn't real. Nothing's real on this show. No, it's not public domain. It belongs to Biofriendly.
Copyright Biofriendly. All rights reserved.
Absolutely.
Touch it and die.
You know what? I said something illegal.
Oh my God, we have to bleep you.
I have to bleep me.
See, just like that, Jacob's already making mistakes.
I'm a criminal.
And we're doing it live. If you want to find out.
Well, we're going to jump into today's subject, which is it's a bizarre one. It's a little off kilter, but I like these sometimes because they generate some interesting conversations.
Okay.
But basically today we're going to talk about gravity.
That is weird and off kilter.
Well, and I'm not talking about the John Mayer song. I'm not talking about the Sandra Bullock. Gravity. I'm not talking about the Sandra Bullock film where she's stuck in space.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the movie Interstellar. Spoiler alert. It's a lot about gravity.
A little bit of gravity involved.
Yeah, a lot of gravity involved in that.
What about the man that was stuck on Mars or whatever? What was that?
Oh yeah, The Martian.
The Martian.
Yeah,
that had some gravity involved.
Yeah,
because his escape
Serious
velocity didn't
gravity.
have to be so much because there was so little gravity or resistance coming out of
There
the
we
nailed
go.
it.
And he didn't realize the gravity of the situation.
Nobody did.
No, I saw an article that was about this company called Gravitricity out of Scotland. But it led me into this whole conversation about gravity being used to create energy. Okay? Gravity is an interesting thing, right? It's a fascinating thing when you start thinking
People
about it.
really misunderstand gravity.
Okay? You want to start there?
Sure.
Start there.
Like we all hear what goes up must come down.
Right.
Right? So I think it's just like the sky. There's just a thing that's just there. It just comes down. That's why it's just, we're here. Gravity's a thing.
Yeah.
Right? But gravity actually it literally is a force.
Yeah.
Right? So like you think about if you like thrust is a force, right? When you put rockets on something and you push it away,
Sure.
that is you're creating force to push you away, right? Gravity isn't just like, this, it is natural in that it's part of nature,
Right.
but it's not natural in that it's just like, hey, so you look up and there's this guy, and I'll call in later, folks.
Call in
YouTube
later.
Live is where you get to put in your comments. Not on-
Don't call.
on the
Just
phone call.
chime in.
Yeah. But it's actually a something that is physically with force pulling inward.
Yeah.
Or in this case, it feels like it's pulling down, but it's actually pulling inward towards the middle
Towards the core
of Earth.
Yeah.
Or like the sun, the center of the sun, and the larger you are, the more force is being exerted on other things. It's actually like you got to imagine. It's almost like someone was pushing you or throwing you, except in this case, they're actually physically pulling you.
Right.
Except instead of someone physically pulling you or rockets physically pushing you,
It's gravity.
it is a force called gravity.
Yeah.
And we have almost no idea about how it works. There's a billion really interesting, fun, neat theories about how it works or why it works, whatever else. But really, it works.
Yeah, it just works.
Big things pull harder than small things.
And it's pulling towards the center of the Earth, which we all know that's where King Kong and Godzilla are from because of the hollow Earth theory from the latest HBO film Kong versus Godzilla. I'm just kidding.
Absolutely.
That was the
And 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or the Journey to the Center of the Earth.
hollow Earth.
Yeah.
No, but gravity, it was Newton, right? He's the guy with the apple.
He was.
And he was the one who was like, hey.
Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, wait a
that apple
minute.
hit me in the head.
That's not, he didn't
So
float in.
what goes up must come down.
Right.
And then you get Einstein on an elevator,
Right.
feeling the force being pushed up and going like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This force is pushing, and thinking more about, and then he's got some interesting.
Ideas on gravity.
Ugh.
So many interesting ideas.
So yeah, well,
Some say Einstein was a clever guy.
a couple people.
A few.
But anyways, let's take it. So you got to remember when he's talking about this that you got to think of gravity as like it's a force.
Right.
It can create energy.
Yeah.
Because it's literally pulling at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what gravity is. And it's one of those things that when I saw this thing about gravitricity, man, I'm gonna. It's a Scottish company too, so it's like Gravitricity. It's
Who would like to get some Gravitricity?
You'd like to work for Gravitricity.
Hello there.
But when I saw it and I typed in gravity as an energy source, you go back about 10, 15 years, and there were all these sites that were saying impossible, cannot be done. It will not be done. It's like, and then all of a sudden now it's entering back in the conversation.
I think that I'm so sorry. I didn't airplane mode. I did not airplane mode.
Dare you in front of our YouTube live audience?
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for not airplane moding properly there.
Yeah.
We're airplane now.
Yes. You're airplane mode?
I'm airplane mode. Here we go. Airplane mode.
Airplane mode. Okay,
we're focused in.
You were about to say, I said something about back 10, 15 years ago, they were saying it's impossible. And now it's becoming like it is possible.
Well, I think that people have another great misunderstanding about what a battery is.
Yeah.
You think of a battery as a hunk of metal that has a copper top and you plug or a bunny attached to it. And
yeah. Everybody powers their stuff with bunnies.
Yes.
Yeah.
That you plug into your Walkman.
Yeah.
So you can listen to your
Noel,
tunes.
Discman.
Your Discman.
Let's get with the program.
Listen to your hot tunes. It's like or a battery plugged into your phone or whatever, which is definitely a battery. But I think that people have rethought all you're talking about is energy storage.
Right.
How can you store energy?
Right.
Like you could call oil a battery.
Yeah.
Because it's storing energy.
Right.
That's all. It's you light it on fire and the energy is released.
Right.
And that's how we get energy out of. That's why there are so many old school fossil fuel energy generators through coal,
and that's
through
why
fuel oil boilers, through whatever else. We're just burning things in order to create energy. Right.
Yeah.
So gravity, it's a force. It could create energy because it's pulling.
Right.
So you could conceivably use that energy. Now the problem I think that people have had with it in the past is so you drop something. You're using the force of gravity to pull down. And then create energy by that pulling motion. You put a weight on something, you pull it down, you get right. Okay, good. But then you've got it stuck in the bottom. You're going to waste energy pulling it back up.
Right.
And so the issue was so you're just wasting energy pulling it back up. Why are you bothering?
Yeah.
Except right now, what we do is we create a lot of energy with wind and with solar.
Right.
And wind and solar, the biggest problem, the biggest argument against them, and it's a legitimate one, is that they don't work all the time. When
Right.
the wind's not blowing, you're not getting energy out of wind. When the sun's not shining, you're not getting power out of the solar panels,
right? It's got to be stored.
Right. So you've got to put it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And then when it's suddenly so then you back it up with a natural gas plant, and that gives you all the energy that you need while it's turned off. And then suddenly the sun's shining, and suddenly, whoa, my God, there's all this power coming from all these solar panels that are going to fry the grid.
Right.
So they've got to do something with all that energy when they're not using it, or in order to temporarily use it while they're using a backup.
Yeah.
So now the idea is, because you know that you're wasting energy to pull this weight back up, right? Because gravity, the idea, you pull down, you get energy, you pull it up, you waste energy, right?
Yeah.
People are okay now with wasting energy because you've got energy that's sitting somewhere that you can't use all the time. And if you are using that wasted energy to create more energy with the gravity,
right,
then conceivably you've created a battery.
Right. Exactly.
And that's sort of the idea. It's the same thing we talked about before with dams, right? With
watch your mouth.
I tell you, that's why you go on. That's why you come on YouTube Live, because you get to hear me say bad words.
Yeah.
Okay. No. So like with a dam, the idea that you would then pump water away from the dam to move the river essentially back upstream.
Yeah.
Well, that's a gigantic waste of energy. Why would you do that? Well, you're doing that because the moment that you release that water, that dam can now create the energy to fill the vacuum while the sun's not shining or the wind's not blowing.
Yeah.
So now that's basically the idea. It's like you're basically holding energy by building more, wasting it, building more, wasting it, building more, wasting it, and doing that with energy that you created from solar panels and windmills.
Yeah, because there was...
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I'm going to break down kind of what this company's doing, and then I'm going to tell you about a few other things that have happened just recently. But so a company that uses gravity to create a giant battery has just completed a successful test in Scotland, paving the way for its commercial scale rollout. The firm is called Gravitricity.
Yeah.
And their device, which has a 25-year lifespan, could help prevent the mining of rare earth minerals and the creation of a lithium-ion batteries while providing cost-effective alternatives for renewable storage.
What else has a 25-year lifespan? I'm trying to think.
Turtles?
I think they're 100. Like, well, some maybe. I think they're
Maybe
very
50?
long, like 50 or 100. Yeah, turtles. Cats can sometimes go 25, right? A good healthy cat.
Normally, I think the average life expectancy of a cat is 15 to 17 or something like that years. But yes, they can go.
Well, that
they
wasn't
can.
a good one.
No, it's okay. We had my wife had a cat named Maxwell who lived to be 21 years old.
So basically,
They can last.
we're talking like the lifespan of your favorite cat.
Yeah.
Plus.
And that's the
some
lifespan
time.
of this battery.
It's how long this battery's gonna last.
Plus
That's a
give
good
or take.
amount of time.
Yeah. I wish I knew more animals where the life expectancy was 25 years.
I wonder how, because the dogs are like 12 to 15. If you've got a
Unfortunately.
good one, like 20.
Yeah, exactly.
Monkeys?
Yeah, maybe. No, monkeys last
are like-
forever, right? They're like
Longer
50.
than us?
I thought 50
Really?
years.
Monkeys
Really?
are good.
Well, maybe
Okay.
not.
They might be longer than me. I don't know how long. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's everything from a capuchin to a chimpanzee to like, you know what I mean? It's going to vary when you're talking about the different species.
That's
Because
true.
when I was a kid, I had a friend who had two pet capuchin monkeys, the same kind from Night at the Museum.
Yeah.
That little kind. And they were the best.
Really?
They were the best. They wore little diapers. And then when you'd go over to his house, he'd let them out and they'd jump up on your shoulders and they would just like kiss on your ear and you would just be like tickling this. Oh my gosh. It was the best thing ever. So anyway, I think that his family owned those illegally, by the way.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like something
I don't
you
think
can
they were
have.
allowed to have the monkeys.
Yeah, well, it's like people with the tiger. We learned so much about tigers while we were all locked away.
That's
too.
right. That's right. We
How
learned
many
a lot
people?
about-
How many people actually own tigers?
the exotic
On a boat.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't own a tiger if you don't have a boat.
Yeah, that's true. You got to have a boat before you get your tiger.
Elise,
Everybody
do you mind doing a small amount of research while we're
I
doing?
don't mind.
How long do tigers live? Maybe the tigers.
Maybe it's a lifespan of a tiger. What's the life expectancy of a? Hey, that's
was
right.
a
We have somebody who can like.
do research on the fly.
On the
We
fly.
have a producer now.
Yes.
We got a person here.
8 to 10 years.
8 to
Oh, that's depressing.
That's sad.
Man,
Right.
tigers don't really last
They
that
don't
long.
last that long.
Well, anyway,
Well, something.
we've
lives,
gone off the rails here.
Something lives 25 years, and that's how long this
Okay.
lasts. That was such a tangent.
That's okay.
But it was environmental.
It
We
was
talked about
environmental.
animals.
So this says costing 1 million. Is that the euro symbol right there? Is that what that is?
That's a pound.
That's a pound. 1 million pounds to build a 15-meter, 49-foot tower with a 25-ton weight. Sorry, this ads are popping up all over the place. With a 25-ton weight, Gravitricity says the prototype can generate 250 kilowatt hours and deliver electricity in less than a second when demand occurs.
That's huge.
That's big,
That's good.
right?
Yeah,
that's pretty good, right?
That's what you want, because it's at any point you're like, oh God, we've lost power. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so it says the technology relies on sending excess power from renewables, such as wind power, into cable pulleys that slowly hoist a heavy weight up the tower, storing potential gravitational energy that is released back into the system as electricity when the weights are lowered. So that's exactly what you were talking about. So this is one company, but I did want to share this other one. So this is causing a lot of other businesses to rise up with this idea.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. So there's this other one called Energy Vault, and this is in Swiss, the Swiss city of Ticino, near the Italian border, would stand out anywhere. It has 6 arms. This 110-meter high starfish of skyline isn't intended for construction. It's meant to prove that renewable energy can be stored by hefting heavy loads
You've got
and
to
dispatching
put
them.
that picture on the painless screen, because you'll see that thing, and I would imagine that like Optimus Prime would be like, and destroy it.
It
like,
is
beat it up because he'd
really-
think it was a.
It is very Transformers.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a Decepticon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is, I will absolutely put it up here for everybody to see. It is a pretty interesting image to see the skyline starfish, as they're calling it.
Okay.
So this has caused Gravitricity, Scotland, other companies, New Energy, Let's Go, Gravity Power, they're all coming out with this idea. But there was this one thing in here that I wanted to see that I was like, wow, that's so interesting. But
While you do that,
while I do that,
and another reason why it probably is not something that people have looked into until recently is you're going to waste some of that electricity. Like when you're, it will cost you more power to pull that weight
yeah.
up
Yeah.
than you'll get when you let it slide down.
Yeah.
And I think that getting the gearing right so that you can get as much power out of it was probably one of the reasons why Gravitricity is working out.
Yeah.
But it is something that we should note, is that, that's not a perfect battery. And I think one of the reasons people like the lithium ion battery or other ones like that is because it holds a lot of the energy. It takes a while for energy to start kind of escaping and being wasted in those batteries. Like they kind of hold it really well and it stays in one place for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
You charge up one of those batteries and you leave it there for a couple of weeks before you really see that it's losing its charge.
Yeah.
So that's kind of another issue with even the idea of using a dam.
Yeah.
As a
What? How dare you?
as a giant battery is you're using more energy to pump water upstream than you're going to get out of the dam.
Yeah.
But it's but if it saves the planet because we're not throwing a bunch more carbon in the atmosphere, maybe it's worth it.
Exactly.
Well, I think people have kind of changed their calculus here on what's worth it and what isn't worth it and what should we be doing and so on and so forth. So it's probably why they're getting all this money.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of money and a lot of investment, and I can't find the dadgum thing I was talking about.
What was the idea? Do you remember?
It was just conceptually talking about how much the potential, they even used the word gigawatts. 1.5 exactly.
gigawatts.
And I was like, and that's why I wanted to refer to it. It was 1.21 gigawatts.
1.21
gigawatts. And that's what
Doc Brown.
I remembered reading, and I was like, oh man, I've got to mention that on the podcast because it's got a total Back to the Future reference.
I feel like we should change, by the way. People should always pronounce it gigawatts, even though it is gigawatts. Because
I don't like giga.
Yeah, no. We all know gigawatts.
Look, Doc Brown's smarter than everyone.
Right.
Absolutely.
And therefore
They
he's
made a
correct.
movie about him.
Yeah, they made a movie about him.
Yeah.
His biography was terrific in Back to the
Yeah.
Future.
Right.
Yes.
There's 3 of them, right?
It took three whole biographies
Right.
to fully bring to life Doc Brown and what he was all about.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm giving up.
Way to prepare for the show,
There it
Jacob.
is. I got it. To be sure, nearly all the world's currently operational energy storage facilities, which can generate a total of 174 gigawatts, rely on gravity. Pumped hydro storage, where water is pumped to a higher elevation and then run back through a turbine.
Which is what we were just talking about.
When
we said dam over and over again.
Dam, exactly.
Did we just lose our show?
No, it's just the monitor saying that we're being too loud.
See, this is why you watch YouTube Live, is because then you can watch us screw up, have to reset everything, and then continue while it happens.
No, but so like you were talking about hydro storage, and they were saying that hydro, while great, it sometimes requires a very specific geography.
Oh, of course.
And so that's the limiting factor.
Yeah.
One of the things that this gravity tech is taking advantage of are mines.
Yeah, because you've already got the hole dug.
Exactly.
It saves you a lot of time, energy, money.
So you have these mines where the facilities can drop down and then rise back up.
Yeah.
And so what was so interesting while I was digging in this, and I won't look at this screen anymore because I spent too much time looking at it, but there was even a while ago where they were making gravity-powered lamps.
Okay.
And the idea was you have a lamp that's powered because you have this thing at the top, and over the 4 hours that it drops down, it lights the hour. But the downside of it, right, was I have to manually go back and lift it back up. Right. But if you could somehow, even on a smallest scale, figure out a way to have something that drops down, and then I don't know how the contraption, maybe it's just powered that it flips. You know what I mean? Like it's on a spindle, and you've charged at least enough that once it reaches the bottom, it just goes like this. You would have a gravity-powered light source that could go until the bulb runs out.
Again, I mean, you're talking about like perpetual energy, right? So so one weight then pulls down the other weight, which then pulls down the other weight, which then pulls down the other weight. No, I was talking
about one going like this, and then whatever it gets the bottom to, it's like, let's say it's in a circle, and then it rotates around, and so then it drops again. So it's always falling.
Yeah, but how does it rotate again?
You charge the source with the thing falling? Like you power it with the thing falling? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I don't know. Well, I'm not in the lamp business. That's obvious. I don't know. It was like an idea in my head. You know what I'm saying? Perpetual motion power.
The issue that you have with the issue that you'll always have with this, and the reason that it works when you think about the fact that we have energy that's potentially wasted.
Right.
And that's really what this. That's really what changed the whole ballgame for gravity is we are potentially wasting massive amounts of energy right now. Okay.
Right. That's the idea.
And so the reason you had to reset the weight is because something has to get it back up.
Right.
In order for it to come down, right? And so some people think, well, okay, so it comes down, then the pulls another weight up, and then that weight then comes down, and except the problem is that once the two weights hit the middle, then they're balanced, and then they would stop.
It would stop.
Right? Because gravity would have pulled them both to where they are.
Right,
so at some point, you need somebody or something to pull it.
To pull it back up.
Back the other direction, with as much force as it was pulled down.
And that was the argument for why 10, 15 years ago, everybody was going, this is dumb. because we're wasting our time because half of it has to be done by me.
Yes, you can't have a perpetual using gravity because the two weights will eventually balance themselves out and it will stop.
So we can't have gravity-powered cars.
That's just a light that we were talking about.
Yeah.
But it's like, do we really need the light on for that long?
You're right. Elise, why do you got to drop that wisdom on me right now? We need to turn the lights off at some point in time.
All the fun of lifting the weight back up all the way to the top. No, but so what they're doing here, it's actually a really good example for people who are curious about what we're talking about. What they're doing here is instead of having Jacob's hand, except in the size being God-sized or at least King Kong-sized.
Yeah. You should see it. It's amazing.
Yeah. King Kong. He lives 25 years.
He lives 25 years. Everybody knows that Kong and Godzilla have a 25-year
lifespan. We figured it out.
We got it.
Yeah.
I looked up something else.
Yeah, what'd you find out?
A bat has a 24.
Oh, there you go. Okay, there you go.
This is amazing.
This is why we have...
And the bear has 40.
Oh,
what?
There we go.
Right.
Wow.
Bears
are serious.
Yeah.
So the bear's 40th birthday, they're like, oh no.
It's my time.
Over the hill, and I'm done.
Yeah. He's at the bottom of the hill. Yeah.
Happy 40th, Larry. Oh, man.
We're dying tomorrow anyway.
Poor Larry.
Anyway.
Poor Larry the bear. That's
the bear.
exciting, though. Bats, now we know. Yeah. So this will last as long as a bat does.
This gravity battery lasts as long as a bat.
It's a gravity bat.
Gravity bat. Sounds like a Batman piece of equipment, right? The gravity bat.
The gravity bat, yeah.
Anyway.
Where were we?
I don't know. We were talking about...
Pants.
We were talking about the lamp and
you can have a weight, pull your pants down, but sometimes you have to pick your pants back up.
Every now and then you have to pull your pants back up.
Or wear a belt.
Or wear a belt.
A gravity belt.
They don't gravity belt. This is my gravity-powered belt.
I don't know.
I remember. I be number.
Okay, go.
I've got it.
Go. I want to hear it.
Be number is what my daughter used to say when she was little.
When she was really little.
Because she couldn't say remember. She'd say, I be number. Or actually, it was more often like, I don't be number.
I don't
because she would want to talk, but she couldn't get a word in because her dad never shuts his mouth. I tried not to get bleep that time. His dad never stops. So then I would say, oh, sorry, what were you going to say, sweetheart? And she would go, I don't be number.
Oh, I like that.
So it was sad.
Be number also sounds like a month that we forgot about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. October, November, December,
be number.
December.
When's my birthday? It says 7th of November.
Be number 7. That's right. I don't be number.
Anyway, go with your be number point.
All right. So I do be number though.
Okay.
So we were talking about the pulling it up and going. So what happens is, and this is kind of a neat analogy, right?
Okay.
So instead of having the lamp where you use the King Kong sized hand now to pick up this giant weight to get it back up so that it can start back down again.
Sure.
The King Kong hand is excess solar and wind energy.
That was your original point.
Yes.
Which is...
So like if you have electricity, then you can use the energy from the electricity to pull the weight back up. And that's how you're storing it.
So maybe, and we've actually kind of said this on the show before, which is wind, solar, we could partner a lot of these technologies together to create a more efficient system.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like instead of going, well, it's all wind or it's all solar, you pair these things and you go, this is going to take care of this and that.
We always talk about the importance of a diversified grid, right?
Yeah,
of having different things in different areas depending on what's most useful, right?
Yeah.
Like I love, and I'm biased because my brother's company makes them, but if you've got
water.
If you got water, you got little cricks running.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be putting
use hydropower.
Powerballs on. Because that creek just keeps on running. That's also gravity powered.
Yeah.
People don't think about that way, but this is a great, we were talking about this before. If you have a bowling ball on a bed, and you push weight down on the end of the bed and the bowling ball rolls towards you, you just use gravity power to move the bowling ball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's all, it's gravity's pulling the water down. So these power balls that Mike has, that they work the same way. They're using gravity, it's just the gravity's pulling the water and that's where you're getting your energy.
Wow.
So that's the thing. It's using the force that exists to create energy. And then what's clever about this is it's solving the problem of how do we get that weight back up to the top of our little energy generator by using power that potentially would be wasted because we can't use it all while it's going on. So that's kind of the...
That's the idea.
That's kind of the idea. Yeah. But I don't think the perpetual one's going to work until we truly understand how gravity works and can make the spaceships like Bob Lazar talked about.
I'm glad you said it because now if we talk about this documentary on our podcast, we may have the government come after us, just so you know. Because it's.
I'm willing to get in trouble for this one.
Okay,
I'm willing to have the CIA and the FBI and everyone else come in and bust down our doors.
I told Noel when I said let's do gravity, I knew that we had this battery thing, but gravity is such a fascinating thing. And to get a little outside of the Biofriendly podcast in terms of just like weirdness is that the idea of it being applied to space travel is fascinating. And we're nowhere near being able to do that. But there was this cool documentary on Netflix about this guy who had, worked at Area 51, and he was literally like chased down by the government his whole life because he said, I have seen the alien tech.
Right. And the government, now to I suppose, say the other side of the story.
The other side of the story.
The government has said that this guy is a loon, that he never worked there, that this is ridiculous, that he's an insane psychopath nutbar, and please don't listen to him or pay attention to him. Yeah. Except that if you watch the documentary and you see what his qualifications are, where he worked, where he studied, what he knows, and and you just see him talk, you're like, no, this guy's a rocket scientist.
I believe him.
I believe him. And then you find out that now they're releasing all this alien stuff they've got from the U.S. military, and you're like, no, Bob Lazar's probably telling
legit.
the truth.
Yeah, but see, they can do that. The government, they can get rid of records like, this person worked for us.
For sure.
They're going to say all that.
Absolutely. But on the
this is why we're gonna get busted out. Don't trust the government.
Don't trust it. No, we so in the show he talks about he was like the alien tech that he found back in Area 51. It was gravity powered, and so it was like the way that they were able to travel through space and travel light years was not because they had thrusters or engines or fuel that they had to burn. That's been one of our problems.
Well, they did have a fuel. They did have fuel to create the gravity well.
Yeah,
and that was the element that maybe or maybe not Bob Lazar has secretly purloined and held on to. And if we told right now the FBI that we now have some of this element, then we'd have people breaking down the doors.
It's in my coffee.
It's in Jacob's coffee.
I've been drinking it all morning, and I feel great.
It's in me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
No, but gravity. There's a great movie called Interstellar, and that also talks about gravity being used in outer space and just the applications of gravity. I just think that we're just cracking kind of the surface of what its potential is. And so I think that these gravity batteries are cool, but I think that maybe in the next 100, 200 years, we might find that there's a lot more applications for it.
Here's the thing, right? If you be like an Einstein for a minute, kids who are listening to the show, okay? The reason that Einstein figured out so many cool and interesting things, and we talk about them sometimes on the show, and we'll continue to talk about them as we go, is because he kept asking why.
Right.
You're annoyed. You're in the car, and you're trying. I just want to get to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And then the kids are, they ask you a question, and you give an answer. They say why. Well, and then you give another answer. And they say, well, why? And then you give another answer. And then why? And then why? At some point, you're like, because it just is. And usually, you say because it just is because you actually don't know the answer to that last why.
Yeah.
So children keep asking why, and if somebody doesn't have an answer for your why, you now have something that you can study.
Yeah.
Because that's really all it is. If you're curious and you ask questions, then you'll start to look in the right area. And if you look at something long enough and take enough perspectives on it, you will figure out something about it, which will get you 1 centimeter closer to asking the next why.
Yeah.
And then eventually you can get to the bottom of exactly how it is that gravity works. Because whoever figures that out will rule the planet.
Yeah. And if there's a kid out there right now who could find a way to use gravity where the task of lifting it back up, I don't even know how it's possible, is almost using next to nothing, then you would have solved a huge gravity riddle.
That was the thing about these. Now, again, this is all very controversial. Bob Lazar doesn't exist. Right, but the thing that was so neat about the description of these flying saucers, right, is that they could travel great distances with very little fuel because
it was like a bowling ball on a mattress.
Right. So you turn up the gravity in front of you. It's like, remember earlier in the podcast we said gravity is a force.
A force,
right?
Yeah.
Except instead of it pushing you, it's pulling you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so instead of a couple podcasts ago, you talked about the nuclear sail. To send a something the size of a thumbtack to Alpha Centauri in about 10 years.
Yeah, it was the sail that was the solar powered sail,
yes.
right?
Well, no, I think the idea was that you would create a nuclear reactor that would create a 10 nuclear bomb explosion. Yeah, essentially that much energy, and then force it into a sail, which would then push a thumbtack at, I think it was 1/10 the speed of light.
Right.
Towards Alpha Centauri.
And then we could actually get it there.
Whatever, 20 years or something.
30 years,
whatever.
yeah.
All right. So, but that's how much energy you need to move a thumbtack. Well,
Right.
now if you have gravity and you can just keep turning up the amount of gravity, well then theoretically you don't need to carry that much weight. I mean, this element, apparently there wasn't that much of it on these ships. Like there's, it's like filling up your car with gas.
Right.
And then you create a well of gravity, and then you just create enough of it that you're pulling with the power of the sun towards whatever distance you're going, then you can go
very high
pretty
speeds.
close to the speed of light.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can pull anything.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the idea, and it's kind of neat. And then you can do it the other way, right? So if you are pushing the gravity away instead of pulling it towards you, then you create a force field.
Yeah. A force field, guys.
Yeah.
This is some Star Trek, Star Wars, science fiction stuff.
Spaceballs.
That's what you could say.
Spaceballs, like the documentary Spaceballs.
The documentary we all watched about how space travel would work. Yeah, no. It said number one, raise the shields.
That's right.
Right, and the shields go up, and the shield will
And that's gravity.
And that's
it's being pulled towards
except
you.
it's that gravity is now pushing out from the ship instead of pulling into it.
Yeah. Yeah. See,
We
gravity's
solved
cool.
it.
We solved it. So, kids who are listening who are interested in this stuff, I think that there's a lot of potential in this field of research. And like Noel said, ask why, dig into things, because there's a lot of when you look into these renewable energies and alternate technologies that are out there, a lot of times these articles go, they have this idea, but they haven't figured out how to do it yet.
Yeah.
Like that's out there all the time.
Yeah.
There's tons of fields and industries that they're like, we kind of know a solution, but we're still trying to figure it out. Yeah. And that's why we need more and more brilliant minds.
I think the curiosity is so key.
Yeah.
Curiosity is everything. If you have the curiosity and you're just willing to look and study something, look at something enough from enough different angles, you can start to have to answer some questions.
Yeah.
Einstein wasn't a terrific mathematician. I mean, he was good enough at math, but he wasn't a terrific mathematician.
Yeah.
And yet some of his mathematical equations are the most important ones still to this day that we use.
Right.
We couldn't have satellites.
It wasn't for those.
It would not work. They would not work. They're moving too fast.
Yeah.
They're moving at a speed where their time is different than our time.
Yeah.
They're like because time is relative, something that Einstein discovered.
Yeah.
So they're actually their time is moving at a different rate than our time.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Without a mathematical formula to define that specifically, you can't
make it work.
They wouldn't work.
Right.
You couldn't use them.
Right.
Okay? But he figured, and he wasn't a mathematician. He was just curious.
Yeah.
And then he figured out the math necessary in order to answer the question that he had.
Wow.
So just be curious and then figure things out as you go. And you never know what you'll find. You never know what you'll find.
You
That's all I'm
never
saying.
know what you'll find. But that was it. I
Science is cool.
Science is cool. Gravity is
People
fascinating.
keep telling me science isn't cool, and they're wrong.
They're way wrong.
Science is awesome.
It is awesome. And gravity is something that we could look to for energy, and we could use it to space travel or build force fields or gravity belts, gravity pants.
Gravity pants?
Whatever.
Gravity shoes?
Gravity shoes.
Yeah.
Gravity hats.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Okay.
That's it.
So bats, we decided.
Bats.
Yeah.
Bats. Battery is the lifespan of a bat.
I mean, that works.
Bat
That's
battery.
Bat battery.
bat battery. I mean, that works.
It does work.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I got nothing else.
I got nothing else. I think that's a good.
I don't ever have anything.
Oh, that is not true. You enhance
You
the
have
show.
everything.
Everything.
We already said it, but I think one of the smartest things we ever did was add Elise to the show.
Absolutely.
Because now when we're like, what lives 25 years? And she figured it out.
She figured it out, and now we figured out how to hear her well. Because I had a couple of good friends of mine. Her first episode, obviously, they're like, we can't hear her.
So I was like, way over
And
there.
I know. And I was like, I'm working on it. But then we finally solved it, and I
got it right.
Got it live.
And I like the YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's
live.
great.
I think it's a little more sensible than the Clubhouse.
It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy.
It is, and it's something that we want to promote anyway. So if more people are then subscribing to our YouTube channel, then they have some content that they can enjoy and look forward to every
And
week.
it's easier
Absolutely.
to get to.
It's easier to get to.
It is. I would imagine that people who are sitting at desks and whatnot, like the idea of navigating and having YouTube even just play with their earbuds in while they're doing other stuff is
That's
a
what I
lot
do.
easier
I
than
listen
like,
to podcasts.
I got to get to Clubhouse. Oh, wait, I'm not invited.
Yeah, never mind.
Not that Clubhouse was a bad idea. idea. I'm not.
You know what?
I thought it was a great idea.
I'm willing to
It was a
admit
good
when
idea.
I'm wrong,
It was a good idea.
and I was wrong.
No, it was a good idea. I think that maybe it was early, and I think that maybe soon Clubhouse will be all around the world, and then it could be.
And then it could be
They
understand.
maybe just need to just be around the world. I don't know what they're waiting for.
I know.
It's already a good platform.
I know. I think they're doing the exclusivity thing to build coolness. Honestly, I
It
think
is.
that
They want to have a line out the door so that they can.
They want to have the nightclub feel.
only
Right.
let in the good-looking
VIPs.
people.
Yeah, LA Clubhouse is a very LA feeling app,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's like, well, maybe I'll let you in. I don't know if you have a
Right.
friend who comes here or
here.
something. It's
Yeah,
like,
you're not on the list.
yeah,
Right.
it's very exclusive.
Yeah.
And we're just like the guys the night at the Roxbury, just like, what is love? Just standing outside the door, just like, let us in.
The dance that where they're grinding against these poor women.
Yeah,
No, when
just
they
like-
go up and then she like it's literally so hard that that she's just like flying back and forth.
It was always so funny. Sherry O'Terry was
Oh my
so small,
God.
and she would just fly back and forth.
Oh
so
my
funny.
God. It was so accurate because that's the kind of madness that was going on back then.
Back then in the 90s.
Unfortunately, we were alive then.
Yeah.
Not unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, we were
Fortunately.
alive then. But unfortunately, we're that old.
I wasn't even thought of at the point.
You were just a glimmer in someone's eye.
Yeah. Her dad's.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
it. It's your
That's
is it
right.
glimmer? Yeah, glimmer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There was what was the word that my parents used to use? You were just I don't care.
A fart in my belly.
You were just a fart in my gravity belt.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
it. That was it. All right. We are your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Carefully avoiding neonicotinoids.
The Siegfried and Roy of podcasts.
This show is a joke.
Is that how it goes? I think
Did I
it
do it right?
sucks.
Did I?
Right.
No, this show is a joke.
I did it wrong
show's-
again.
No, you did it right.
Oh, you did it right.
Have I
Elise, are you just trying to throw?
She wants me to say this show
up.
blows again.
She's so into Noel
I'm so
blowing it.
confused now, right?
No, she's,
don't know what
I've
it
done
is.
it wrong so many times that
That's
Elise's like, wait a
how-
minute, that's not how it goes.
That's how the tags go, though. She's becoming an official.
You're really part of the podcast.
She's really becoming part of the podcast because what happens is you get to the moment and your brain goes, wait, I don't remember what's right anymore. But after this show's a joke, there's something that I'm missing because I know the next one is step one, chill out. But I know I have another one, which, never believe. Never believe.
Step one, chill out.
And that's it.
That's all we got so far.
That's all we got.
That's okay.
Because we racked up a bunch in a row. And then
did. We've
now
been
we're
rolling.
Now we're
Yeah.
slowing down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a break. I ain't used to these.
Whoa.
Never Believe was my first show.
Huh?
Never Believe was my
Was
first
it?
show. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's how you know that it's a special podcast when you're
Never-
telling children in classrooms, never believe.
Never believe, and this show is a joke. How this show is a joke.
It is great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, but before we go though, we should don't forget to tell your friends to listen to the Biofriendly podcast.
Subscribe.
I told my
share.
friends.
Yeah,
Did you?
thank you.
Good. Thank
That's
you.
awesome. We're on everything.
At
We're
least
on,
Elise is doing that, guys.
Yeah.
You guys are.
We're talking to you, listener.
Yeah, Elise is telling her friends, "Have you?"
Joining on the fun. Yeah, and then join us on the Painless Green, where it's the quickest place where we'll send a link on the Facebook Painless Green.
Painless Green, and that like Clubhouse is a private group.
It's a private group, so
Pretty exclusive.
very exclusive. It's a line, hard to
want
get
in.
into.
Yeah,
Yeah, people
yeah.
want in, they can't get in because it's difficult.
Can't get in.
I got the hookup.
Yeah, that's it.
Ask Elise for invites.
Right.
That's right. And we're on Instagram at Biofriendly1.
Twitter at Biofriendly1.
Twitter at Biofriendly1.
Instagram is
Biofriendly
Biofriendly Planet.
And the reason that Twitter is stupid is because
because
they
the
don't give us
character
enough
limit.
characters.
The character
so we
limit
could say
is too long.
Biofriendly Planet.
If we wanted Biofriendly Planet, we'd have to abbreviate it into a
PLNT.
weird way.
Into plant.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Biofriendly
it didn't work. So we have Biofriendly 1.
And that's
O-N-E.
a lot of places, Biofriendly one. That's also like I think LinkedIn. Because everybody on our show does just LinkedIn.
We're live on LinkedIn this week, guys. People looking for jobs.
might as well have a live studio and audience now.
Right.
I know,
I
at this
know.
point.
That would be the
Right.
dream. Anyway.
So that's our stuff. Come follow us. Tell your friends. Thank you for seeing us today on YouTube Live. And
Cheerio.
Bye.
I realized if I do this before I say
You
cheerio, it
look
looks like
I'm
I'm
crazy.
saying I'm
You're like,
crazy.
ignore that. This guy's crazy over here.
Podcast.